Hello everyone, this is Recap Rewind, and today I'm going to tell you the story of the movie The Beekeeper. In this film, a nobody was forced to return to his roots as the ultimate assassin to single-handedly take down a call center gang. This movie is more thrilling than anything you've seen before. Before we dive into the clip, please give it a like and subscribe to support my work. Now, let's jump into the action. The story begins with our protagonist, Adam Cray, who lives a quiet life as a beekeeper after leaving his past behind. He rents a barn on the outskirts of town and has a friend, Parker, the landlord. Adam recently helped Parker by catching a hornet, which terrified her, and she was grateful. Parker is the first person to show him any kindness, and Adam wants to repay her. One day, Parker's computer gets a virus, prompting a message to call a number to prevent data loss. Parker, not suspecting anything, calls the number, which connects her to a call center scam. The scammers, led by Garnet, tell her that her antivirus program is outdated and needs to be replaced. Parker, who isn't tech-savvy, struggles to follow the instructions since her daughter usually handles such things. Garnet suggests Parker visit a store to fix the issue, but warns her that all her data might be lost. Parker, anxious about losing her data, agrees to follow Garnet's instructions to download a new program from a specific website. After doing this, she thinks the problem is solved, but in reality, the scammers have gained control of her computer and are mining her personal information. Parker's assets, including savings and insurance worth $2 million, are quickly targeted. The scammers create pop-ups on her screen, and Garnet reassures her that these are normal. Garnet then tricks Parker by pretending to mistakenly transfer $50,000 into her account, asking her to return the money to prevent him from losing his job. Believing the story, Parker agrees to transfer the money back, but this requires her to enter a password, which the scammers hope will give them access to all her accounts. The moment she does this, her computer shuts down and her money vanishes. The scammers celebrate their success as Parker sits in shock, realizing she's been duped. Meanwhile, Adam, unaware of what has transpired, brings honey for Parker. Finding the house dark, he cautiously enters and discovers a gun, bullets, and a few drops of blood. Fearing the worst, Adam finds Parker dead from a gunshot wound. Suddenly, a woman named Verona, Parker's daughter and an FBI agent, appears and orders Adam to drop his knife and kneel. Verona handcuffs Adam, demanding to know why he's in her mother's house. Adam, grieving, explains what happened. As Verona sees her mother's body, she is stunned. The scene shifts quickly to the police collecting Parker's body. At her mother's house, the police questioned Kay, but he remained silent. He had nothing to say. Verona immediately asked, "Who are you? What are you doing in my mother's house?" Kay truthfully replied that he had brought honey for her. He was a beekeeper who rented the barn from Parker. They had a lease agreement. He knocked on the door, but no one answered. He saw Parker's car parked outside, and the fire alarm was going off. Another police officer complimented him for being thorough and asked if he had ever worked in law enforcement. Kay repeated that he was just a beekeeper, but they still had to detain him. That night, Verona went to inspect the barn and saw that Kay was indeed a beekeeper. She then checked her mother's computer and saw that the account balance was zero. Verona began to believe that her mother might have committed suicide because she was scammed out of her money. Soon after, the police returned and confirmed that there were no gunpowder residues on Kay's hands, but Parker's fingerprints were on the gun, suggesting it was a suicide. Verona believed it and apologized to Kay for being aggressive. He understood. She saw him drinking orange juice and asked if he wanted something stronger. He declined but offered to keep her company. Verona wanted to thank him for taking care of her mother and wished she could have done more. Kay said that elderly people get lonely easily, especially at that age, as if counting down the days. Verona noticed his accent and realized he spoke like an Englishman, which made sense since he was born there. Verona didn't like her mother being alone, but her mother refused to move because of the many memories there. She understood why her mother liked Kay. He reminded her of her brother, who had been in the Marine Corps and died on patrol 2 years ago. Her mother loved her brother dearly, praising him for even mowing the lawn as if he had saved the world. But she was the opposite with Verona. Even when Verona graduated from the FBI, her mother only said, "That's good." Verona then revealed that Parker had been scammed out of all her money, including her savings and pension, leaving her with nothing. Parker was an educator and director of a children's organization and had been tricked into transferring $2 million. Kay, hearing this for the first time, immediately asked who was responsible. After talking to the cybercrime unit, Verona explained that the gang had been scamming people for 2 years but had not been caught. Even if they were caught, building a case to prosecute them would be challenging. Lawyers could argue that elderly victims willingly transferred money to strangers. Kay shook his head, saying that scamming the elderly was no different from stealing from children, or perhaps even worse. If you harm a child, parents and others will protect them, but when the elderly are harmed, they are often left to face it alone, with few people caring for them. Verona was determined to fight the scammers and vowed to catch the call center gang. Kay had to check on his bees, having not slept all night, but the hive was more important. He took the honey he had brought for Parker and opened a box containing a radio to contact an agency. The woman he spoke to was named Rosaria. She immediately asked, "I thought you quit?" Kay confirmed he was retired but needed help finding someone's identity and address. The other party said it was easy, but Kay replied it wasn't that simple, as even the FBI couldn't find them. Rosaria assured him that they were better than the FBI and asked for the information, promising results soon. A few moments later, she contacted him again, confirming that the call center gang was skilled at scamming people worldwide, but not beyond their capabilities. They had the address but didn't know the leader, which Kay decided to handle himself. He immediately went to the location, a large corporation called United Delta Group. He got out of the car with 2 cans of gasoline. 2 guards tried to stop him, saying it was private property. Kay stubbornly replied that he would go in and burn it down, asking if they knew what the company did. The guards didn't know, but Kay insisted on entering, counting to 3. He placed the gasoline cans down and explained that the company was a call center scamming the vulnerable and stealing everything they had. The guards were protecting criminals. One guard reached for his gun but was too slow. In an instant, both guards were on the ground, and Kay expertly disarmed them. He entered the building with the gasoline, checked in with a receptionist, and told her to warn everyone because the building was about to burn. The confused receptionist complied. Kay reached the room where the scammers were gathered and demanded they repeat after him, promising not to scam the vulnerable again. They laughed and mocked him, so he grabbed one of their phones and hit the person nearly 10 times. Everyone immediately complied, repeating the promise. To ensure they kept their word, Kay began pouring gasoline. The people in the room fled, and Garnett, who had scammed Parker, appeared, looking scared. He asked what Kay was doing. Kay replied that he was a beekeeper protecting his hive and sometimes had to use smoke to drive away wasps and beetles. Garnett was confused and ordered the guards to attack him, leading to a fight where Kay showcased his skills, proving he was indeed formidable. It didn't take long, for guards were watching the mango root. Kay didn't make Scarlet. He connected the wires. When a customer called, this place would catch fire immediately. He walked away, leaving Scarlet standing there confused. But in the end, it also escaped. Soon, a man called. Kay drove off with the drone bomb company. Cut to a large company, Danford Enterprise, located in Boston, a company that manages call centers. This man is the owner's son, with typical rich kid behavior. His name is Derek. Not long after, Garnett called to deliver bad news that a customer was extremely dissatisfied with them. Derek wasn't surprised. He told the lawyer to clear it up. But this time, it was different. A man had barged in and dealt with them like tissue paper. But the point is, the whole building exploded. A $30 million company gone. Derek got angry, demanding to know who it was, asking for a name. Garnett didn't know. Kay didn't leave a name, but he was wearing a hat. Derek sarcastically thanked him, saying it was very helpful. He went to seek help from Wallace, a former CIA agent, by making up a story that a friend had their company bombed. He wanted the name of the perpetrator. Wallace declined, saying it was a job for the police. Derek had to act on his own, asking Garnett to investigate, starting with the latest scammed customers. When they found him, they'd destroy the team and use deadly chemicals to deal with him. Verona was in a daze for several days, until her friend from the FBI, Wiley, called to show her something, which was the state of the company, United Delta, that Kay had just destroyed. Wiley explained, all the cameras were destroyed. A female employee told him, a man around 40, had dealt with the security guard and walked in with a gas can. He saw everything, but no one would talk, because they were under a cyber scam investigation. Verona asked for everyone's records. Kay returned to be with the bees. Garnet investigated until he reached Parker's house. At first, he didn't think it was the right place, until he saw Kay's truck, which confirmed it. Kay drove off just then. Kay destroyed the company, and Garnet planned to get back at him by shooting all the beehives. Kay returned to the barn, knowing he was being followed, so he prepared. Garnet arrived with 3 more guards. Garnet shouted, "You can't escape now." Soon, Kay appeared, killing the guards one by one, silently, each guard dying in a different manner. Garnet begged for his life, asking to talk like civilized people. Kay showed no mercy, cutting off all 5 of Garnet's fingers. Cut to the FBI. Verona got news that her mother's house was burned down, and they found a body, with an ID card of an employee of United Delta. Wiley speculated, was it possible the man who burned the company was the same one who rented the barn from her mother? Verona wasn't sure. Garnet, at the edge of a bridge, bleeding profusely, called Derek to report his failure, saying his fingers were cut off too. Derek got even angrier, demanding a name. Garnet didn't know, but said he was a beekeeper. Before he could finish speaking, Kay appeared and punched him, tying him to a car and letting it roll into the water. Garnet fell and died. Kay picked up the phone. "Who am I speaking to?" Derek replied, "The owner of the multi-million-dollar company you just burned down." Kay responded, "I'll burn you next." Derek threatened him in various ways, saying he didn't know who he was messing with. Kay retorted, "Your voice sounds young. You probably haven't made a will yet." Derek went to Wallace again, who was watching news about Kay killing 7 guards, fully armed with bare hands. Derek said, "I'm the next target." The only information they had was that he was a beekeeper. Wallace turned pale, seeming to know who Kay was. He said if the beekeeper said he'd kill you, there's no stopping him. Derek complained, "He's just a beekeeper, what's the big deal?" and questioned Wallace's competence, saying he's never been helpful. Wallace then explained he had been in the CIA for 35 years and was here because Derek's mother asked him to clean up after Derek to keep him out of trouble. But this time he feared he couldn't help, suggesting Kay might be the last pair of eyes Derek would ever smile at. At the FBI office, Verona began to piece things together. United Delta was one of the call center gangs, managed by a central company, which they needed to find. As for Kay's information, there was nothing. He was like a ghost. No bank accounts, credit cards, or flight records. She wondered if he was Jack Britta, but fingerprint searches found nothing. It was possible he was in a secret project. Wiley got notified that they found Scarlett. Wallace, after refusing to help Derek, was reported to Jessica, who pleaded with Wallace again. This time, Wallace couldn't refuse. He called a friend, Jane, the CIA director, saying it was urgent. They were looking for a beekeeper causing trouble. Jane was alarmed, knowing many might have already died. She said she would try to find him. Verona found Garnet's body, tied to a truck and drowned, missing fingers on one hand. Jane called Wallace, saying Kay had retired a long time ago, changing the game. It seemed the beekeeper was a secret organization. If retired, they could be eliminated. The beekeeping organization was aware of the problem and would take over. Wallace didn't need to do anything, but he warned that this beekeeper was very dangerous and should have been eliminated months ago. At a secret organization, Rosario, where Kay used to contact, received Jane's request to eliminate Adam Queer, Kay. They accepted, saying it would be fun. Kay was refueling his car when a car rammed into him, with a female assassin sent by the beekeeper organization. She fired at Kay, but he disappeared. Police cars arrived and she fired at them too. Kay fought her, recognizing her. She told him to stay retired and quiet. They grappled, though she was skilled. She was no match for Kay, who fought like a madman. Kay threw a bee bottle at her head, lit a match, burning her alive. Then he cut off her finger, borrowed a car, and drove away as the gas station exploded. Jane called Wallace, saying she couldn't solve the problem. Wallace wasn't surprised. Jane said the beekeepers had studied the situation and chose to remain neutral. Derek spoke up, saying he thought Wallace could handle it. Wallace got very angry, asserting he could handle it. Derek spoke up. "Hey, you guys can handle this." Wes was furious and assured that he could handle it for sure. On the FBI side, they inspected the remnants of the bombed gas station, checking the woman's details and spotting a beekeeper's notebook. He resembled Kay, who looked like a ghost. It wasn't hard to guess that this incident was definitely Kay's doing. This road led straight to Boston. Wallace hired former SEALs and other skilled soldiers. The one who had to be dealt with was a retired beekeeper. Wallace also shared the history of the Beekeepers organization, which had been a secret project operating quietly for 10 years. It had absolute power to protect the hive, which symbolized the country. But this beekeeper, Adam Gray, was causing problems. Compared to him, the seals were like children. However, multiple seals might manage to take him down. The team leader was named Patrice. Back in Verona, Jackson, the deputy director of the FBI, called. He wanted to meet urgently. At the same time, Kay returned to the old organization, scanning his fingerprint to enter. Nobody was there. He gathered information and found the location of another call center company, Style United, in Boston. Verona met with the deputy director of the FBI. He updated her on Kay's recent activities, suspecting that Style United was the next target. Style United was a call center company. Jackson immediately asked, "What do you need?" Verona asked for everything, SWAT teams and analysts. Style United operated similarly, scamming people and competing over who could scam more. The atmosphere was lively. Outside, about 10 FBI SWAT team members were preparing to raid, but Patrice stopped them, showing a paper with orders from the governor, stating they were no longer welcome. Patrice led the team inside to help, telling everyone to leave, but the man with the microphone refused, wanting to call his boss first. The FBI discussed among themselves until Kay intervened, suggesting using smoke to drive them out. The team leader was confused and ordered his men to arrest Kay. Kay quickly fought back, taking down dozens of FBI agents swiftly but only injuring them slightly. After calling Derek, who instructed him to continue, even though Patrice mentioned Wallace's orders. Derek didn't care, saying working for Wallace was like working for him, and it was a lot of money. Patrice complied, leading the team to retreat. The tired workers clapped in mock appreciation, with Kay hidden among them. One man recognized him as the beekeeper. Kay confronted them, giving them one chance to leave if they didn't want to die. The SWAT team rushed in and many fled. Patrice asked Kay to surrender, but he pushed a man into him, dodging bullets as he escaped. Kay climbed to the ceiling, attacking from above, and ambushed Patrice, taking his gun and shooting the others. He asked Patrice if he knew who he was working for, but Patrice didn't care, only knowing he had to eliminate him because he was a problem. They fought hand-to-hand, with Kay knocking Patrice out. Verona's team arrived, and the raid leader confirmed it was definitely Kay. He was in the building, having done something unprecedented. Verona decided not to wait, leading the team inside. They saw Kay entering the elevator, and the SWAT team fired at him. Kay asked if they were done shooting before sending the elevator down, killing them all in front of Verona. Kay jumped out of the elevator shaft, reaching the room where the call center workers hid. The manager claimed he was just hired. Kay threw him against a window, demanding to know the top boss. The manager couldn't tell, fearing for his life. Kay tortured him with a phone until Verona's team arrived. Kay showed a picture of Parker, who had been like a mother, dedicating her life to helping others, and had shot herself yesterday because they had siphoned $2 million from her foundation. She was the only one who cared for Kay. The manager eventually gave up the information, but warned Kay that he couldn't touch those at the top. Verona's team arrived, shouting for Kay. He responded, saying these people killed her mother. Verona believed Kay but insisted on letting the law handle it. Kay agreed but knew the law couldn't do it. Kay escaped, easily defeating Wiley, who chased him but had 4 kids, so Kay let him go. The FBI couldn't keep up. Verona saw the photo of the call center's top boss and was stunned. It was Derek. No wonder they were shocked, as Derek's mother was the President of the United States. Wallace, hearing that his team was eliminated by the beekeeper, saw no other options and told Derek to call his mother and stay with her for protection. Derek complied, calling from the Denford mansion. Valley genuinely asked Verona why not let Kay handle it, as these people killed her mother. Verona wanted to, but she had sworn to let Kay handle it, even if he was doing the right thing. Both video called Jackson, the deputy director of the FBI, reporting the events and understanding Kay's true intentions. He was after the money to catch the scammers, with a giant company, Danforth Enterprise, behind it, using call center funds for an election campaign that got the president elected. No one knew this except the 3 of them. Kay's next target was Derek Denford, the president's son. Jackson gave the green light. At the Denford mansion, security was tight, checking every car meticulously. Derek had arrived, and Masaurus, the head guard, had fought and killed a beekeeper before but lost a leg in the process. Kay infiltrated disguised as a guard, approaching the mansion where Jessica had just arrived. Every car was thoroughly checked, including the undercarriage, which was a weak point Kay exploited. He snuck in through an underground drain, hid under a car, and when the guard checked, Kay knocked him out and took his place. Everything was seamless. As he walked in, Kay planted a bomb on one car's tire, changed into a suit, and blended in as a guest. Verona saw Jackson with Jessica, seemingly informing her about Derek's secrets and the impending attack. They sat down to talk, with Jessica unaware of her son's call center activities. Kay showed his face to Verona, who immediately alerted everyone. Guards swarmed inside, and Kay surrendered easily, clearly having a plan. Masaurus intended to kill him, but Verona stopped him, insisting he was unarmed. Masaurus looked to Wallace, who nodded to proceed. Before pulling the trigger, Masaurus asked Kay if he wanted to be a bee or not. Kay smiled and chose to be a bee, pressing a button to detonate the car bomb. Then he switched to combat mode, sparing the SWAT team but not Derek's men. Jessica argued with her son about his illegal activities, which he justified as supporting her position. The scene cut to Kay fighting everyone in his path, reaching Derek's room. The SWAT team and guards couldn't stop him. Derek asked his mother how to deal with Kay, and she advised telling the truth, even if it meant losing her position. Derek disagreed. Kay fought his way to the door but was intercepted by Masaurus. They engaged in a tough fight, with Masaurus eventually falling. Verona saw the unconscious guards, thinking a tornado hit. Kay stood ready to breach the door when Wallace appeared, trying to persuade him to return to peaceful beekeeping, which he genuinely wanted until they killed his neighbors. Wallace realized there would be no beekeepers without people like him. Kay snapped his fingers effortlessly, telling Wallace to wait. Inside, Derek refused to let his mother tell the truth, shooting Jackson and forcing her to change her mind. Kay blasted in, with Derek holding his mother hostage. Verona ordered Kay to drop his weapon. He gazed at the sea outside, asking Verona who she worked for, the law or justice. Derek aimed to shoot his mother, but Kay headshot him, then dove through the window. Wiley checked on Jessica, unsure whether to be happy or sad. Verona stopped Kay, and they stared at each other before she lowered her gun. Kay nodded, moving on. Reaching his hidden bag, he changed into diving gear and disappeared into the sea. If you like this video or you have any suggestion, feel free to like and comment. Subscribe to our YouTube channel for new updates.